Hello, my name's Ara. You've reached my channel Cosmic Vibrations. I'm going to be doing a general reading for Gemini Sun, Moon, and Rising sign for the month of July 2018. So I'm going to do an 11 card Celtic cross spread as your general reading, and afterwards I'm going to pick some cards for career, health, and love. And of course, this is a general reading, so not all of it will apply. I would be really amazed if all of it applied. If that was the case, please leave me a comment saying so. I'd be interested to hear about it. But I'm sure there'll be something in here that you can relate to. And I know you guys' minds work quicker than most, so I'm going to try to be as concise and time efficient as possible. Okay, ready? Pardon. And yes, that's a leprechaun behind me. I can almost hear music in the background. This part is so boring for me. Do 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 do. Okay. Interesting. Well, I'll try to make sense out of this for you. I may end up picking some other cards to go with some of them. So, let's get started. The first card is the Star. How beautiful. What a beautiful card to get as your main experience for July. That is truly magical and lovely right there. Your countering experience is the Nine of Wands. I'm just going to go through the whole thing real quick. What is helping you is the Ten of Cups. That's a really nice energy to be helping you. At your core is Justice, Lady Justice. Your recent past is the Hierophant. Your best possible outcome, this is a really nice one, is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups has showed up so far in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. It makes me wonder. I suppose the Sun is in Cancer. Speaking of the Sun being in Cancer right now, in your near future is the Moon. And you right now are the Nine of Pentacles. In your surroundings is the Six of Cups. Interesting. We'll have to go into that. Your hopes, in this case, is the Ace of Pentacles. And your general outcome, which is really powerful, is the World. So let's get into it. Excuse me. As your main experience for July, it's all about what you wish, hope, and dream about. It's about raising your vibration. It's about raising your energy up to a level where you are truly trying to focus on what truly matters to you. When you strip away all the externals, because I always think of this because she's naked. She's out in nature, she's naked, and she's pouring water out of 2 vessels into a pool, and she has the star directly above her head. So she is truly, completely connected with all in creation. It's a highly spiritual healing card. Has to do with faith. And not just saying the word faith, but really meaning it. To have faith. To know that there are higher forces out there looking out for you. That there's more to life than just meets the eye. If you dig under the surface, you can discover wells of inspiration. Inspiration that you can pour, that pours from the cosmos into your brain and pours out of you into the world around you. So this is an excellent card to get as a main experience for July. It seems like you're really getting in touch with your deepest part of your being and feeling truly like you can walk a magical path and share your inspiration with the world around you. That is wonderful. And it's also about wishing upon a star. If there's something that you truly long for in your soul, now's the time to express to the universe what you wish. So your countering experience to that is the 9 of Wands, which is feeling as though you've been doing the same thing for way too long. And even though what you have going on isn't necessarily bad, you are almost completely done with it, and you're ready to do something a little bit more meaningful than what you have been doing. It's also a time to pat yourself on the back for accomplishments well done. You've put a lot of hard work and effort into something that really means a lot to you, whether that's writing a book or building a house or whatever you've been spending your energy on. That's meant a lot to you. You are so close to finally being done with it. And I'm getting you feel a longing for travel, or you feel a longing to branch out and do other things. It may be time to find other people around you that would be willing to take on this role, which is displaying. You know, you can do a number of that for yourself. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say you can take on that role and you don't mind doing that, but this almost feels like you're being too much yourself, where you may want to take on a different role now. And you may want to pass the reins over, is what I'm feeling. And that's why this is your challenge. With what inspires you. These 2 cards are very different. You've done so much that it's almost like you should feel fulfilled, but you don't feel fulfilled because there's something deeper, there's something more meaningful for you out there that you want to go explore. So it may be time to find someone to pass the reins to, who may be able to take things over for you. But we'll see what else is in the reading. Just so you know, I don't always read the cards the exact same way each time. I always get different visions in my head. So not only am I looking at the cards, I'm looking at visions in my head. So I know my eyes are a little strange. I've been told that my entire life. And part of the reason why is because I'm actually looking at something else. I'm looking at things in my head. I suppose the proper word for it would be clairvoyant. So what's helping you is the Ten of Cups, which is lovely. It says you have full support of people that love you and are connected to you in your life. And regardless of what you've got going on, there's a deep feeling of that anything is possible, that you can manifest anything as long as it means something very deep to you. And maybe things that you've been longing for a very long time are finally coming into fruition. And that you can see progress happening finally. Feels like perhaps in the past you didn't see all of the blessings in your life that you had, but now it's becoming very obvious to you. And this is what is helping you, is happiness and joy and feeling blessed. That's really nice. So be grateful. Have gratitude. That'll bring even more into your life. At your core, you have justice. So this may say a couple of different things. It can say that as you sow, you shall reap, that it'll all get evened out in the end. You could look at this as a karma card, but karma not in the sense of something negative. It's just the law of cause and effect. So if you've behaved well, if you've learned your lessons to the best of your ability, being a human being, if you have tried to be just, if you've been fair, if you have tried to see situations from all parties involved, or at least two sides, if not more than two sides, you are a Gemini after all, then you should have equal, equal giving back from the universe, from all of your fair ways. If you have not been fair, if you haven't looked at things from multiple angles, if you feel like you've been wronged so much that you feel it's okay to hurt other people back, then you may very well end up feeling the end of Lady Justice's sword. But normally, justice is about weighing and also making major decisions. So around this time, be as fair as possible. Expect results from decisions made, whether for good or for ill. But I'm thinking that perhaps you're seeing things from a different perspective now, and things are becoming clearer to you. If you are involved in any kind of court issues, it should go well, or it should go fairly. Let's put it that way. So in your recent past, you have the Hierophant, the speaker of ageless wisdom. And this is saying that you may have become aware of certain insights or deeper meanings of things, or a fuller perspective of things than you did before, recently, where things are making more sense to you. You're receiving greater, higher truths from the universe. I see you as having great inspirations, great ideas, sudden insights. Things are clicking together and making much more sense than before. Maybe perhaps you were confused. You weren't sure about your impact on other people. But you're becoming very aware of the law of cause and effect, justice, and also what you think becomes reality. You're fully comprehending that. That's wonderful. That means that you can start manifesting the reality that you want by changing your thoughts. Not that you were thinking wrongly in the past. It's just now, with this sudden knowledge that you've been receiving from quiet moments or from talking with people or just from the spirits, however you want to think about it, you're understanding things on a much deeper level, and that's amazing. As your best possible outcome, this is really lovely. Everyone's been getting this so far. Makes me wonder. Feels like perhaps there's a little bit more magic in the air than usual. But the Knight of Cups is almost always about following your heart, following the gentle path, following things like compassion and empathy, and also your own dreams and inspirations. So this is your best possible outcome. And also a type of healing that's received by finding soul family or people around you that are truly genuine in how they express themselves and their hearts. And that in turn opens up your own heart. There's something about deep conversations and connections with people in your life right now, which is really opening magic up in your life. More things are possible for you at this time than usual. And you may be thinking about some kind of trip that you want to take that would open your heart even further. I'm thinking somewhere near water. In the near future is the moon, which I think is really interesting that you have this. The moon usually speaks of 28 days. It's from the lunar calendar. The 13 lunar calendar is actually the most accurate calendar. And over the next 28 days, I'm getting from the time that you watch this, which is funny. It's going to be a time of deep introspection and illumination. Your dreams may be more intense, memorable, or lucid more than usual and be giving you messages. And so pay attention to your dreams. Also, there may be something about needing to care for your children more, or your own mother, or to care for yourself. Hang on one second. Okay, where were we? The moon. I'm getting deep understanding of things, intense dreams, premonitions, intuitions, visions. It's interesting. Normally I think of Gemini energy as being extremely logical and very intellectual. No offense, that's a kind of a generalized way of putting it, but it is an air sign, and this is very, very watery. You have several very, very watery cards in this reading. It makes me wonder what's going on with you. It feels like a deep emotional rebirth of some kind, and a lot of things are being stirred up to the surface. Over the next month, be very tender with yourself. Make sure that you're sleeping enough and drinking enough water. And if you are caretaking anybody, this is definitely telling you you need to take care of yourself fully and completely before you can really take care of anyone else properly. There may be something to do with your mom or somebody who's going through a really delicate time right now that you may want to check up on and be there for if you can. Might be some things gestating in your imagination, some ideas of future things that you need to take care of as if it was a newborn baby. But in any case, it's definitely a time for introspection, healing, rest, recuperation, and honoring your own feelings. And also do not act on any fears, intuitions, or gut feelings that you get, because at this time it can be very confusing and they can be easily mixed up. So after 28 days, things should make a heck of a lot more sense so that you can act. Until then, just allow yourself to feel. I almost want to pull another card for that to explain it. Here it is. My goodness. Okay, along with the moon, you got the devil. So don't be too scared. I know. The devil represents things that we are addicted to that no longer serve us, or we know are not good for us, but we can't seem to stop. This can be anything. Addictions can be anything. It can be eating. It can be sex. It can be drugs. It can be alcohol. It can be yoga. You can even be addicted to doing yoga 24/7 or only eating certain foods. Whatever it happens to be, it feels like it's taking the place of something much deeper that you're trying to fill. And oftentimes, if you look at the picture, I really like their depiction of it in this, because the devil is actually holding up a mirror. And the mirror is showing you afraid to see something about yourself. Oh, you hear that wind? That's definitely a message. Yeah. It's like the devil is saying, oh yeah, you think it's me? You think that it's some external thing that's holding you back or making you feel trapped? It's actually you. The devil is you. You are your own worst enemy. So it looks like with the moon, you are becoming aware. Oh my goodness.
Pull him out, pull him out, pull him out.
Hey. That was my little girl with her puppy with a grass skirt on. Anyway, go figure. The Gemini reading and the leprechaun behind me. We gotta have some mischief around here. Okay, where were we? We were at the moon and the devil. Okay. So, let me get a moment to get back into where I was. You are becoming very aware, whether you like it or not, of parts of your being that have possibly been operating under intentions that were, for the most part, subconscious, that involve with either power and control or feeling trapped to addictions, patterns, ways of doing things that you knew were not serving you, but you continue to do them anyway. And there's something about the next coming month in July, go figure, Sun in Cancer. You cannot escape your subconscious promptings to flush out things that hold you down to lower vibrations than you would actually really like to be on. Even though it satisfies a craving at the moment, it's not dealing with the originations of it or where that comes from. And the reason why I'm interpreting this way is because you have such a spiritual high vibration card as your central experience. It feels like you're going through almost a form of enlightenment, or things are making much more sense in a spiritual positive way to you than ever before. And because of that, the starlight is shining on aspects of your being that you know need to be flushed out or transformed before you can truly follow that path. We all have these things, so just to remind you we're all human. Also, I want to let you know the best way to deal with the devil, or deal with your own shortcomings or your own parts of yourself you have a hard time looking at, which we all have. The best way to deal with it is humor. And to be forgiving of yourself, but not to the point of enabling yourself. So right now you are feeling fruitful, independent, practical. You've been patiently, slowly over time cultivating your own sense of self-sufficiency. And you could think of this card as being self-sufficiently on a physical level, like with money, with being able to provide for yourself, for creating physical things like houses, gardens, things you want to build, things you want to create in your life. You can fully do this on your own, and you actually know this. You've already been working on this. You're almost complete with some kind of thing that has meant a lot to you, that perhaps in the beginning you felt like you needed other people's help. But then you realized the help wasn't coming quite the way that you wanted. And rather than giving up, you decided to just do it on your own. And the reason why you didn't have as much help as you would like is because you needed to prove to yourself what you're truly capable of. You may have been thinking of other people helping you as a crutch or as something that you absolutely needed in order to get started, but you quickly realized that you just needed to do it, and you did, and now you're almost done. So congratulations, this means a lot. In your surroundings, you have the Six of Cups. This is, in your surroundings, you may have people from the past returning to you, and this could be anything. Could be past lovers returning to you, could be dear friends that you haven't seen in a long time coming to visit. This could be returning to past locations where you used to live for a nostalgia's sake, or just to see what it's like now. In another way of looking at it is, in your surroundings, you may be thinking fondly about the past, feeling as though in your surroundings now it's not quite cutting it. You remember certain ways of feeling, certain ways of being from the past that you miss, that you wish you still had. Or it's kind of like an analogy of, it's hard to go back to eating junk food once you've had gourmet food. And there may be something from the past that's drawing you back to it because you haven't been able to find anything else to ever match it since then. However, I almost want to warn you and say it's not necessarily time to be going back. It's a time to be going forward. And even though there were some things that you really miss, I want to let you know that it's possible to find that vibration again, if not a vibration that's even better. And I want you to know that that wasn't it, or that wasn't the pinnacle of what's possible for you. There's even better than that that's possible for you now. So try not to get too trapped in the past. As your hope, there's the Ace of Pentacles. So there may be a new wish, or a new dream, or a new manifestation you would like to create. Kind of am looking at this as something that you're almost done with, that you're so close to finally finishing. And not only that, the finishing thing is going to be better than you expected. You're capable of a lot more than you thought, and you realize that now. But now that you're wrapping this thing up, it looks like you already, of course, you have Gemini energy. You guys are like factories of ideas on a constant 24-hour basis. You already have a new idea for the next thing you want to do. So your hopes are you'll be able to plant good seeds. And in the general future, or general outcome, is the world. And this makes a lot of sense to me because you have the star as your main experience for July. And the world is a big deal. This says that at least a cycle of the past decade, 10 years or more, is finally coming to a close. All of the karmic lessons, all of the experiences you were supposed to have in order to come to the place where you are now are about to completely finish up. And you're about to have a whole new world open up, a whole new cycle of at least another decade of completely new lessons, completely new journeys to come. But for now, you're in between the worlds. You've got one foot in the old one foot in the new one. The wheel is turning, the world is turning. You can't stop. You have to embrace the new and let go of the old. There may be some last tests that Saturn wants to challenge you with, but you know what those lessons are. It'll seem familiar, even if Saturn picks a totally different face for this old lesson. You'll recognize it. It has a similar energy. Please show Saturn that you've learned the lesson. Recognize it for what it is and close the door in its face. Once you let Saturn know that you have fully learned this lesson, you are done. You'll never have to repeat that lesson ever again because you've learned it. And equally, besides one last test, you're also being given gifts. You're also being given blessings because you have done the work through this long-term karmic cycle. You're being rewarded. In other words, you're graduating. You're moving on to a completely new thing now. So my main advice for this especially is to be flexible in mind, body, and soul. And I'm especially getting messages of things like yoga, stretching, dancing, walking, anything physical that keeps you limber and keeps your joints supple. So between your two outcomes, you have the Knight of Cups and the World. So while you're graduating, while you're finally moving on to a totally new cycle, embrace your heart, be yourself, seek visions, and connect with the right people. Okay, that's what I've got for you. Hopefully that made sense. And on to the next section.